Anyone interested in exercising his or her right to self-defense, and this is why they should become a student of applicable law.
So it's the right combination
Yes.
of knowledge, the tools, and the know-how.
Perfect. Violence destroys. Weaponizing is the counter strategies to violent criminal assault. Hey, I'm Greg LaBeouf, aka The Violence Guy, and I'm sharing with you how I went from the victim of a brutal attempted murder to mastering the tool of violence and protecting myself and family, and how you can do the same from the safety and comfort of your own home. Welcome to Weaponizing DIY.
Okay, I think all of us would agree that the average motor vehicle has evolved into something fairly complex. We would all like to do our own service on, we'd like to do our own maintenance, but would we ever embark on service and maintenance without first consulting at least the owner's manual and possibly a shop manual? No, because it is this big unknown where screwing up could result in a dangerous situation, could result in a mechanical failure, all kinds of bad things.
Yes.
So what we have is a case where, okay, if I feel I'm capable, I will seek the knowledge that I need to determine whether or not I should do the job in the first place. Yeah. If I could do the job in the first place, do I need a special place? And in addition to that, the tools.
Yes.
Because all the knowledge in the world, you can take the best mechanic in the world, take away his tools, and he's relatively helpless.
Yeah.
Or you can take the most ignorant person in the world who knows nothing mechanics, give him all the best tools, and again, he can't do it. So it's the right combination of knowledge, the tools, and the know-how.
Perfect.
Okay, yeah. and being able to figure it out how it all applies. So you may not, again, to use the analogy of automobiles, you may not be tuning cars to Grand Prix standard, but to be able to change the oil and do some mechanical work, the knowledge is here, you can understand it, you can apply it, you've got the necessary tools to do that. Likewise, with respect to defending yourself, your family, your property, you get the applicable knowledge. The vastness of Canadian law and precedent is overwhelming. But you don't need to know all that. You don't need to know where all the different laws came from. But what you do need to know is relevant to those things that you're likely to encounter in the course of defending yourself, your family, your property. Here are the relevant issues, and how have the courts decided on it, how they interpreted it. Because what really matters at the end of the day is not how I interpret it, how the reader interprets it, it's how judges have already interpreted it, because our law is based on a system where if the judges have already decided on how a piece of legislation is to be interpreted, then the future judges in future cases, that has a serious bearing, and sometimes it's even compelling, depending on the level of the court that made the original decision, okay? It compels them. So it doesn't matter what they personally believe, it takes their bias out of it to a great extent, because higher courts or other courts have already interpreted it. So for us, we just have to look to what have the judges and what have the courts already said. So those are the applicable cases. And I would just like to say that it can be hard to find them. For someone who isn't familiar with Canley and isn't familiar with how the legal system works and how cases are recorded, it can be very challenging. So all I have done is I have sought out the case law that's relevant, the criminal code sections that are relevant, and put them together. So here's what the law says in the criminal code, and here's how the courts have decided on these issues. Sometimes it's a bigger issue, and sometimes it's a very small issue, but very, very important, vital in a given case.
Yeah. So, well, reading the book, like that's one of the things that I found personally, and that a lot of people that I know that have read the book, the level of certainty is like huge, because you are giving to us that relevant court case, like so, like that applicable law. Like I'm not only are you interpreting it for me and making it relevant to things that I can imagine and foresee potentially me facing, but then right there is that applicable law. There is saying here is what the ruling is. Because I think you're right, like taking out that there's not guessing what have the courts said.